What can you teach your kids about Labor Day? Hello, this is Cathy Reichel with tips for living well together to build strong families and strong people. This week's topic is teaching the kids about Labor Day. The Labor Day weekend is coming up, and what lessons we can ponder. We in the U.S. commemorate this day on the first Monday in September rather than May 1st, as most countries do. The reason President Grover Cleveland chose this variation was because he wanted to reconcile with the labor movement of his day by recognizing their contribution and value to the country without associating the day with the very negative events resulting from the Haymarket Affair on 1886 and the Pullman Strike of 1894, where people were killed and hostilities were fueled around the world. Now, over 120 years later, in the U.S. today, we think of Labor Day more as a day of rest from labor and a time to enjoy family than a day of political activism for the working man. But even today, it's almost impossible to avoid the news and debate about nationalized health care and government regulations. The debate will rage on, but in the end, it will still come down to God's promise to meet our needs and our responsibility to seek His will for success in our lives. As always, I encourage parents to be informed on these important issues and also to pray with your children for our country, our leaders, and issues that are important to our lives. An honest look at the labor versus management issue reveals abuses on both sides. Greed, selfishness, and fear are the same, regardless of which side signs your paycheck. If a business owner abuses his workers in areas of pay, treatment, or working conditions, there will be negative consequences to pay down the line. If workers become too demanding in light of the realities of their situation, they will bankrupt the industry that feeds them, and everyone will lose. If both sides will trust God to meet their needs and fight for a win-win solution, even the most difficult situations can be worked out. God can and does change conditions. For instance, in the Battle of Long Island, August 1776, heavy fog lasted just long enough for 4,000 troops to escape. But people must control their attitudes and believe for solutions. The United States Constitution was agreed upon only after Congress prayed to break through a bitter impasse. Ephesians 6, 5 through 10 speaks in terms of servants and masters, but it captures the essence of the labor management debate. Here, the Apostle Paul, by revelation, instructs workers to conscientiously work for their employers as if they were working for Christ Himself, reminding them that God is noticing and will reward the correct attitude and heart. Paul then instructs employers to do the same, to treat their workers well without threatening them. He reminds employers that their boss is in heaven and that God is no respecter of persons. That pretty much cuts to the chase about labor and management issues, doesn't it? God has an answer to our most difficult problems if we will humble ourselves to believe and follow His instructions. Please leave me a comment if you have something interesting to share on this subject of labor and business. This is Cathy Reichel. Thanks for tuning in.